Hi, hey, and hello there. Obi-Wan here, and welcome back to the Comic High Ground. Dio, do your thing.
Big Ree, you know what I'm saying? It's the big Oos. It's your boy. How y'all doing today? Y'all doing good? I know we a little late. Are we a little late this time?
Yeah, we are a little late, 'cause yeah, we had two episodes on one day, and there was we were knocked unconscious by the revival of Daredevil. He kind of took us out too for a week, so
Oh yeah, that's right. I
yeah,
missed work for so many days.
yeah, he had hands for everybody, even the reviewers. So he didn't have anything against us. It's just like he had been holding back the devil inside for so long. He had to just hit
It's
everybody.
collateral damage. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't hold anything
I don't
against him.
mind.
Yeah, we don't hold anything against him. So obviously, yeah, like Dio said, we're what, three episodes technically, even though we only missed a week. We're three episodes. We did two episodes last week, and honestly, like I said, it won't take too long because these are the episodes that we have been waiting on, uh, in terms of the devil actually showing back up. Because we were wondering when he was going to show back up. I don't know what the deal was. I know they had to go to, again. We talked about this. They had to go through this whole writing overhaul of sorts to basically, how do they say, to basically fix, if you will, to fix the series. And by the way, people, if my voice was low and then it came back high just then, it's because I just realized that my microphone was going through my little Bluetooth headset and not my microphone. So yeah, I should sound a little bit more clear now.
I was definitely wondering. I was like, whoa, he just got like loud as hell in my
Yeah,
ear. I was like, what the fuck? But it
yeah.
started sounding like pure glass. I was like, it's so clear. It's so
Yeah,
clear.
yeah, no, because I was looking at my OBS here, and it's just like the meter, they was just barely going up in green. I was like, that's not right. And then I went to my computer. It was like, oh, the computer decided to put it through the Bluetooth. I was like, well, that's why. So yeah, I'll try to pay attention to that when before I upload it. So hopefully it won't be too noticeable to y'all. But anyway, um, yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk about episodes 5, 6, and 7, and again, like, okay, episode 5, and they say this episode I think was one that was, I think it was the one that they changed first, or it was like the when some of the changes were being made in this one, the major changes, and you can kind of tell because the episode just kind of goes into. First of all, it starts off with just with the opening. Usually they have their little previously on sequence, but it didn't do that. And you get to the opening, and then you have Matt at a bank trying to get a loan or something like that for their firm because he wants to help the little man. And Kamala Khan's father is the banker that he is, the bank's assistant manager, I think, that he's working with. And he's like, yeah, no, sorry, bud, that's not going to happen. And again, we're not going to go into it too much because this is just a bunch of bank talk. The important thing about this episode is the bank robbery itself, and this episode takes place all in that bank. There's only like two scenes outside of the bank, and that's when Matt leaves the bank for the first time, and then he hears that the bank is getting robbed. So he turns back around. He tells Kirsten to, is it Kirsten? Kirsten, yeah, to call the police, and he goes back. Yeah, and he goes back inside, and he does Matt Murdock things. The robbers are freaking Irish, and they're honestly they're hilarious because how they were talking, they were kind of cracking me up the whole time. Um, but again, there's a hostage situation. Matt pretty much uses his senses to hear what's going on outside and in, and he tricks the robbers and pretty much to kind of gets them to take him to a bathroom where he thinks he's going to the bathroom. They think he's going to the bathroom, and he kicks one of them's ass, and then he goes downstairs to save Kamala's dad, and he kicks the other guy's ass, and then they find. Turns out they were looking for like this little diamond or something like that was in the bank vault, and Then he goes back upstairs, and the police are about to storm in, and Matt's like, you might want to, kind of just work with us here because, he didn't tell him that they're about to storm in, but he's kind of trying to give him hints. And in any case, they storm in. The guy thinks he gets away. Matt knocks out one of the guys, takes their mask, and follows the guy outside, and then pretty much they had this fight, and then you get that scene from the trailer where Matt like just jumps into this guy's kneecap, and it's just like, oh.
That was a nice recap. That was a nice,
Yeah, I
nice
mean,
quick little recap of the
yeah,
of the things.
yeah. I mean, it was fun to watch in person. I mean, it was fun to watch
But
live and everything, but it's nothing to.
it didn't really move anything. It didn't really
Yeah,
move anything. I feel you. Like I was just honestly taken aback. I was taken aback. I was flabbergasted. I was like, there is no way he actually was able to sum that up that quickly. And that's honestly the only important parts that happened in there. And they're like, oh yeah,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, because the episode, and that's why I say we talked about this episode before we recorded, and for the most part, it just feels like it was. It really feels like it was a filler episode, and I've seen people. I think I heard someone say that online. It wasn't a bad episode, but you could tell it seemed to be some type of filler because when you get to the next episode, episode 6, it does go back to the recap and everything, and they're talking about the everything White Tiger, everything from episode 4 they're talking about. They kind of I think hint at episode 5 a little bit, but it's like you go from if you go from episode 4 to episode 5, it's like 5 is like its own standalone thing, and then you go to episode 6 and it's back to okay, this is what happened in the first 4 episodes. So, and I wonder if I think I had read somewhere or heard somewhere that they did episode 5 to just kind of insert some action into the series because there was none to that point really except for episode 1. So, yeah, but episode 6 is where I think everybody had been waiting on because, I mean, whew, we had already talked about the dichotomy or whatever the word is of the duality of Fisk and Matt and their descent into their previous identities, and this episode 6 was definitely it pretty much it was the episode that really tipped it off. That was the what's the word I'm looking for, the there's a word for it that people use. It was the climax of that or whatever you want to call it. Um, because that this episode pretty much drives home both of them becoming who they usually are, and for the most part the episode starts off with Matt not Ava.
The final it was the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah,
This was the final nail in the coffin for both of them. That's
yeah,
what it was.
yeah, and the episodes.
You said it. I was taken aback. I was like, what is it? Because I was drawing blank myself, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
nail in the coffin.
yeah, and the episode I was about to say Ava, but the episode starts off with Angela coming to Matt, and she's like, yo, what we gonna do about Muse though? What we gonna do about this? Well, she didn't say Muse. She technically said what we gonna do about this situation that my uncle was looking into. And Matt's like, why aren't you in school? And
Like, how did you even get here?
yeah, like what are you doing? What we doing? The school system? Why is she here? And she's like, look, I got a free period. All right, so what we gonna do? What we gonna do? And Matt's like, well, I mean, we're not gonna do anything. You're gonna go to school and be a normal little girl, and we're gonna let the police do that and handle that. And she's basically like, in for lack of a better phrase, she's like, F the police, they ain't doing shit anyway. So, and she's like, they're not gonna do anything. And he's kind of quiet because
She's not wrong.
he's kind of quiet because he's like, I mean, I know you're right, but yeah, we're gonna let the police handle it. So all the while, she gets pissed and mad, and she mentions during this conversation that White Tiger had been narrowing down his search to this specific area, and of course, if you're paying attention, then that's your hint. A, that she's gonna take her ass over there and go check it out because that's just what happens in these things. And B, which is a point of contention that some people had for later on in the episode, obviously Matt heard the address. So, and then we'll get to that in a second. But meanwhile, with Fisk, the what's it? He's not. It's one of those gang members or whatever. He comes to Fisk's office at the mayor's office or whatever, and he's, for lack of a better phrase, he's just talking noise to Fisk. He's basically mouthing all to him and everything, and Fisk kind of like taking his time, he's holding his breath. He's kind of breathing. Well, rather, he's breathing. He's taking his breaths and calming himself down. And he's like, all right, like this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and this is gonna happen like this. And so the guy leaves, and you again, it's just two little inciting things, both from Matt and Fisk. It's like two little things at the beginning of this episode to just be like, all right, go on and kind of fall back into your old ways a little bit. Just do it. Just go for it. So we kind of fast forward because I don't want to spend too much time on this episode either. At least not the beginning half of it. Matt pretty much well, not Matt, I'm sorry, Muse. That's what I'm trying to say. Muse is out there. Muse is way more shown now than he was in any of the previous episodes. You get a scene from the comic actually. He's doing his artwork or whatever, and these two girls walk up to him and like, "Oh, you're Muse. Are you Muse? Awesome!" And they're like, they want to get a picture with him. In the comic, he was like, "Oh yeah, we can get a picture," and then he was about to use them as his art, but they were saved by the police. In the show, however, that's not so much the case because, they do become his art. It's pretty violent. It's a pretty violent art piece.
No, it was crazy.
Yeah. And of course, this gets to Kingpin, right? Like the picture or whatever, it gets to Kingpin, and he starts having it investigated and everything, and then he comes to find out during this investigation process that one of the I don't know who it was, some kind of painter, no, builder or whatever he was. He was cleaning it, having it cleaned, and he took it to some type of scientist or something because they was having a hard time getting it off. They were trying to figure out what it was, and then that's when they find out, or that's when Fisk finds out that it's made of blood. So at this point, Fisk decides to go ahead and put together his anti-vigilante task force that he had, and again going into Devil's Reign. This is exactly what he did in the comics, except that instead of because in the show it's a bunch of freaking a-hole cops who have gotten in trouble for one thing or the other, and for some of them probably deserved. But it's a bunch of a-hole cops, and in the comics it was again Shocker, Doc Ock, various other supervillains in Spider-Man's rogues gallery that they can't use here.
Yep.
So again, we'll see how they handle that. But he puts together his task force, and meanwhile with Matt, he's sitting there on the computer because he's heard. Actually, before we get to the computer part, we need to get to the part where he's told by I'm bad with, y'all know I'm bad with names. His detective friend, Cherry, yeah. Matt's in his office in that glass. Well, that's not even his office. It's just like the meeting room. And he's kind of chilling. And Cherry walks in there, is like, "Yeah, here's a drink." And Matt's like, "What?" And he was like, "Well, I know you're gonna find out through the news or whatever, but this Muse guy is kidnapped like 60 people, 600 people, whatever it was, whatever the number was."
It was 60. It was 60. It wasn't 600.
Okay, yeah.
It was 600. He should have had the goddamn Avengers on him, even though they're not formed.
Yeah.
Like Captain America should have been on that shit. I'm talking about everybody and their mama would have been going after that guy.
Yeah, so 60 people, and then he's like, just stay out of it, man. Let the police handle it. Which that in and of itself is like, damn well, you just told Daredevil to stay out of something like that. But in his defense, Matt did try to stay out of it until he was
his damnedest.
He did until he was at home on his computer trying to look up some stuff, and then he got a call from Angela's mother saying that she was missing. And so at that point, it's like he's looking, he goes, I think he picks up his phone to make a phone call, and he's like, and this was hilarious, he's just like, "Fuck it."
Just fuck it. Yeah, I was like, yes. I was like, yes. Finally.
That should be like a shirt.
Finally.
There should be a shirt with Netflix Daredevil. Oh, I'm sorry, with Daredevil, with Charlie Cox Daredevil that says just fuck it on it at the bottom. That'd be hilarious. Um, and I would
He
buy
was
that
trying to
shirt.
call he called the cops first, by the way.
Yeah, yeah,
He was about to call the cops, and then right when they answered, he immediately hung up and said, "Fuck it." It was like it was perfect.
yeah.
It was genuinely perfect
So
because they weren't gonna make it in time. They were
no, they
not
weren't.
going to
Yeah,
make it in
they
time.
weren't. They weren't. And at that point, of course, we don't have to tell y'all. Angela had been kidnapped by Muse. I mean, she took her little ass out there, and he snatched her up in like 5 minutes. So we get this scene of Matt racing to the location, and then you get the scene of him like injecting her, or well, he injected her with something I think to keep her asleep. He drugged her with something, and then he stuck his little blood draining thing into her leg, and so she's this process is already starting, and it's meant to build some tension because they're like, is Daredevil gonna get there in time? Even though I think in the back of your head he's gonna get there in time. There's no way they're gonna take out this girl. Which, by the way, I didn't realize until Dio told me this chick is like 20 something years old in real life. I'm thinking she's a child and she's a full blown adult.
Now, keep in mind, I do want to preface. I do want to preface that it was incredibly hard to find any information on this girl, but from what I've established, I think she's like a TikTok star or something.
That's
I may be
crazy.
wrong. Somebody in the comments tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right. Like, but I think this girl is like my age, like, or she's like around like 21, 22. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think she's an actual child. I think she's just like Tom Holland was and just looks like a child, or dare I say, kind of like me, and I still look young as hell. So it's like
Well, yeah. Yeah. So we get to we get back to the scene with Muse, and you hear the trains because he did some type of I guess some subway area or whatever, I don't know. And he's actually kind of, this is another part that cracked me up because he hears a noise outside, and so he kind of stops what he's doing and kind of peeks outside, and I think he looks to the right, and then he looks to the left, and then he looks back to the right, and then you just see this man just running at him full speed in this Daredevil.
he was blind. He was blinded by the train lights in the back, so he couldn't see he couldn't see fucking Daredevil sprinting full speed towards his stupid ass. And I'm talking about when I finally seen Daredevil or Matt running towards him, I was like, oh my god, this dude is finna fucking get wrecked, G. I was like, he's finna crash out on this dude. He ain't fucking been in this suit since episode 1. It's been a whole year and longer. Cause it's been I think it's been like weeks and months across
Yeah,
some of these episodes.
yeah,
So it's like, he has literally not been Daredevil for a long time. It is like he's finna crash out on this dude. It is like seeing him come in and running, like I said, especially blinded by the red lights in the from the train. So all Muse sees is like a red glow, and then he sees Daredevil running towards him just for Daredevil to shoot the Billy Club, launch towards him, and immediately come in with what you could call a Superman punch, but fuck
yeah.
that. I'm calling it
The Daredevil
a
punch.
devil punch. That's the devil punch. He came in that bitch flying, and he spit the fuck out that dude. Like, I was like,
Yeah,
there's no way.
yeah. It was a hilarious sequence because I mean, I'll give Muse this. He tried to throw some hands back, but Matt was eating them hits. Like he was eating them, and he hit him with like a pole or something. Then Matt finally kind of flinched a little bit. But well, you know what? I skipped the funniest part about that fight sequence, which before he hit him with the pole, before Matt was eating hits, like Dio said, he did the devil punch or whatever. He beat him into his he beat him back into his hideout, and then Matt hit a whole flip kick on this dude, like a backflip kick, I think it was, and landed square on his feet like it was nothing. It was like, did he? Yeah, we joked about this. It was like, look, man, if I just got hit with a backflip kick and this dude landed on his feet, I'm just gonna like, you know what?
You got
You
it.
good,
You
man.
got
You
it.
know what?
I'm staying down. I'm staying down. I don't know about y'all, but I'm sorry. He could have punt kicked this dude, and instead of just punt kicking him, he ran and backflip kicked him instead. in the face. I would have stayed down. I would have,
Yeah,
you got
like
that.
you
I'm
know,
not
you
gonna.
know what, man?
I would have let him free that girl. I would have let him free that girl. And while he focused on freeing that girl, I would have left. I would
Like,
have. You
look,
got it.
like
You got it.
I know you couldn't see what you just did, but I saw what you just did to me, and that you know that's just. I think you changed. I've changed my ways. I'm gonna go be a freaking priest or something.
You don't know my real identity. I'm about to get the fuck on down.
So meanwhile, while Matt is brutalizing Muse, you get this scene with Kingpin, who's gone back into his little hideout, and he goes to Adam. Adam, you know how Kingpin talks to Adam. He goes down there. He has like this axe, and he's like,
And the first thing he tells him is, when I was a boy,
yeah,
I
yeah. See, Adam knows nothing about that, but we do. But he tells him, he's like, Vanessa would really appreciate if I let you go. And Adam's like, yeah, yep, she sure would, yes sir, yep, And Kingpin's just like, well, shit. Too bad I don't give a fuck what Vanessa want. Your ass is mine.
So when I was younger, I used to be beat up by dudes who were real good with their hands, and I realized the simple tool was good enough, you know, to do wonders. And he throws the axe at this dude. I was like, oh yeah, no,
He
he's
threw it at
finna
him.
crash out.
Well, he
He's
threw it at
about
him.
to crash out.
Keep in mind, he threw it at him not in like an attack. He just tossed it at him so he could pick it up and use it.
This man literally gave him the weapon. He literally gave him the weapon he came in with and was like, there you go. This is your tool.
Yes, and he doesn't even come close to hitting him with it. In fact, I think he only makes a good maybe 2 swings at him before he ends up dropping it. Uh, so yeah, while Matt is beating the crap out of Muse, Fisk is beating the crap out of Adam, and
Adam.
yeah,
Adam.
and then we have Matt do, which as you'll see on your screen right now for the video, he lets out this primal scream that we hadn't seen him doing a long time. And
After he literally stood there and let Muse hit him 2 times, like in the face, and he literally ate it. Kicked
yeah,
this dude back and roared at the top of his lungs. It was cinema.
yeah. So at this point, he put strings Muse up with his billy clubs, as Spider-Man calls them, and was like pretty much choking him, hanging him. He was hanging him from like a ladder or something. And then he's listening to Angela's heartbeat, and he's like, uh oh. So he drops Muse and goes to tend to Angela, and I think he administers CPR to her. I think. And he turns around and Muse is gone. So Muse snuck out while Matt was busy saving her. And then on the flip side, you have Fisk who just beat the crap out of Adam. And he's like mine, or whatever. He's like, she's mine. I don't know if he's saying she's mine or he's just saying mine. I think he's saying mine. He keeps screaming mine. So, yeah, like both of their fights conclude, and they're both full on pretty much back into their old personas at that point. And
the only difference being that Wilson Fisk murdered the fuck out of Adam.
yeah,
Adam. He took good old Adam out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
but obviously, our goat being our goat, he left Muse alive, even though he was choking him, hanging him.
yeah.
But the faint heartbeat of
Angela.
Dang, what's her name?
Angela. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The faint heartbeat of Angela, like, made him stop and go back to go save Angela.
Yeah.
So
Which
both truly embodying who they were beforehand, who they truly are,
yeah.
as they exist.
And to add to that, the what I was gonna bring up was that I saw a lot of people complaining about how the heck did Daredevil manage to find her so fast, but my again, like I was saying earlier, she told him the address and the location that Muse or that White Tiger had kind of tracked down with his search. So all it was a matter of Matt going to that location, and then Dio was saying like listening for her heartbeat because he would have a good idea what her heartbeat would sound like. So that's how he found him so fast. And again, that's people just complain and nitpick about stuff. But let's go ahead and get to last week's, or I guess this week's episode, episode 7. Which again, we're not going to spend too much time because it wasn't a whole bunch that happened. Again, we start off with Matt and Fisk, and they are, well, not Fisk. They started with Matt, and he's kind of in the shower or whatever. I guess reflecting on his night with at night as Daredevil, and Heather walks in. She decides she wants to take a shower with him, and then they have coffee, and then afterwards she notices. Of course, she had noticed Matt's like bruise or something. I guess he got when he was fighting Muse, and he was like, I fell or I bumped into something. And they have this long conversation about how she tells him how he basically needs to get his act together before he loses things in his life or whatever. And that's that. Like that conversation wasn't too important in the grand scheme of things. At least not for the purposes of talking about this review. It wasn't too important. And
Not yet. Well, there's only one thing important that she said, and the only thing important that she said was that you know, basically somewhere along the lines that secrets have a cost, and you know, like hiding stuff, you know, ultimately, ends up being the downfall of a lot of people,
yeah,
and it gets brought. We're not gonna talk about it yet, but it gets brought on later up in the episode.
yeah,
But
um, yeah. And then she also there's a part where, and keep in mind, there's a part where Matt after their conversation he feels her face, and keep that in mind because that's important too. Um, but
two
it,
important things.
yeah. And then with Fisk is, and actually I skipped a part because this you could say this happened alongside each other, but Fisk is in his office and he pretty much gets the report that Daredevil is back, and he's just like, oh, this mud back, huh? He didn't want to listen to my threats, okay, but he doesn't react in the way you would think he would. He's just kind of like, okay, he's back, all right, cool, we'll deal with that, because at this point he's still kind of pretty much um, all for getting Muse off the streets. So he's not. I guess Daredevil was just something he's gonna deal with later. But we see that Angela's in the hospital and everything, and Matt goes to visit her because he's trying to get any type of information and clues he can from her about Muse, so he can track him down. And she basically tells him that he had like this art. Did she tell him he had like this artwork or something? In there, I think she said that with faces or
Yeah.
something. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
exactly what she said, basically. Like
yeah. Which
that.
to be honest, I don't know,
Oh no,
cause
that was the only important shit that she
yeah,
really said to him. I'm not
yeah,
gonna lie, like,
cause
cause
she
I'm going back
mentioned,
through it, and it's like, yeah, no, that's like
yeah,
the only thing. Cause she mentioned the bodies hanging up and stuff
yeah.
like that, but like, nah, like it was the faces that he
And
had drawn.
she
Like,
mentioned she had heard him saying something. I can't remember what she said. She said she had heard him saying something too, I think, which kind of threw me off because I was like, if memory serves, she was unconscious through that whole thing. But
the whole thing.
until
So
until
I
he
don't know
got
how
there.
she heard that. Don't know how she heard that.
But yeah, so that I guess that's enough clues from that. Um, because he actually went to the office and talked to Cherry. And no, I'm sorry, Cherry came to the office to see him because she was pissed. He was like, "Really? You really did that? You really went there?" And Matt's kind of just like, he didn't say this, but he's like, "Look, man, I mean, you can't just tell me this issue's going on and not expect me to put my horns on. You just can't."
I mean, you can't do that. You can't do that. Not only can you not do that, I mean, if I didn't do that, bit bro, like, I mean, that girl wouldn't be alive right now. Like, so what you expect? Like, what
Yeah,
you expect? Like,
and and Cherry he's just mad. He gets ready. Matt asked him, I think, for a favor or something like that, and Cherry doesn't want to do it. And Matt's like, it's funny. You used to call me for help. And then Cherry just kind of looks at him and walks out of the office. So he's all pissed and stuff. But meanwhile,
He'll get over it.
yeah, and meanwhile, poor Kirsten, she does a scene. And I'm saying this now because we're not gonna go back to the office scenes. But she stops Cherry in one scene and basically want to know what the heck is going on with Matt because she knows there's something going on. She knows he's been acting a little strange or whatever. And she was like, I trust you, I trust Matt, but y'all don't seem to trust me to let me know what's going on." And I think he tells her to talk to Matt or something like that. But yeah, it sucks because I like Kirsten's character. She's a good addition. Even though I've seen people complain about the supporting cast, the new supporting cast, I do like Kirsten. There's nothing wrong with her. And I don't
I
have a problem
mean,
with Cherry.
I was about to say that. I was like, I like Sherry and Kirsten. I don't know why people have a problem with them. Like, I feel like Kirsten is the perfect, like, I wouldn't say replacement because she's not necessarily a replacement, but she's the perfect thing that Matt needs in his life after what happened with Foggy.
Yeah,
So, with everything going on, despite Cherry knowing who he is, technically, Kirsten is like his new Foggy when it comes
yeah,
to work.
she
Like,
is.
so she's taking on the role that Foggy did when Foggy didn't know that he was Daredevil.
Yeah,
The only difference is that we have a instead of having a love interest friend or a love interest third party, we have Cherry as our third party,
yeah,
and
and
he
I will.
knows who Matt is, and he just doesn't want him to go back down that road.
And I'm gonna say something else too. I would almost argue that if Kirsten knew, she would be the exact opposite of Foggy, just given how her character is so far. I don't really think she would be like, "What are you doing?" She just strikes me as someone to be kind of chill about it. Um, and I'm assuming we're gonna see. I'm assuming she's gonna find out because it seems like we're going on down their path and story wise that she's gonna find out at some point. And I don't
I
really.
mean, everybody and their mother knows who Daredevil is. Like,
Yeah,
so it doesn't really matter.
yeah. So in any case, Fist sends his stupid task force to Muse's location to see whatever clues they can pull up. And while they're doing this, we have the strange scrawny guy who is apparently one of Heather's patients now, which we knew he was going to be, but they never showed it. We saw him in the first freaking episode, and he never showed back up until now.
I thought it was the second episode.
Oh well, second episode. You knew it was on the first two. It was on that first day the show started back. So that's what I'm saying. It was on
Yeah,
that. It was on that first day. So
I feel you.
yeah, he shows back up and he's one of her patients now. And then they had this conversation. He's talking about his parents and how his father made him do jujitsu. I think it was, which explains why he was
I
able
thought
to.
I thought it was Taekwondo.
Oh, well, my bad, Taekwondo. One of them. Which explains why he's.
It was honestly something underwhelming. Like, I
Yeah,
love Taekwondo, like, but if I remember correctly, I honestly think it was Taekwondo.
it
If
probably
it was
was.
Taekwondo, like, somebody in the comments, please, like, just I asked it earlier, do this one for me as well, y'all. Like, if it was Taekwondo, please tell me. And if it's Taekwondo, Matt is a master of every goddamn martial art there is.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that's so underwhelming, boy. You are not ready for this fight. How are you? If it's Taekwondo, how was he lasting so long
Yeah.
in the train in the train station? Like, how was he lasting so long under there in the subway?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that still explains why he was able to do what he did against Matt. But in any case, he didn't like his parents. He didn't even like his teacher that was teaching him.
He said he loved his parents. He said he loved his
Oh, he
parents.
did.
Yeah, he said I love my parents.
Oh shit! Shoot, I
That was
missed
one
that.
of the only things he said. That was one of the only things he said. Like that's one of the only things that stuck with me. He's like, oh, like, cause he was talking shit about his parents,
Yeah.
and then she was about to say something about his parents. He's like, I love my parents.
Oh, see, I
And
missed
it's
that
like,
part.
whoa, dude, you're just a crazy psychopathic dickhead, huh?
Yeah. Okay. So he ends up. They had this conversation, and the mayor or whatever. Not the mayor. I'm sorry. The police detective lady, the Asian lady from the bank robbery episode. We didn't
In the
mention her.
first,
We didn't
yeah, in the
mention
first
her.
episode,
She was in the first episode.
yeah, she was the one talking to Cherry.
I vaguely remember that, but in any case, Yeah, she tells Fisk that because they had gotten a file on him, and what's his name, Bernard. Um,
I think
yeah,
I don't
something like
remember.
that. Yeah, Muse. They find out about Muse because they tracked down like the canvas that was. They found a piece of canvas and they tracked down like who all I think sells that canvas and who all buys it, something like that. I don't know. And in any case, long story short, they tracked down him, and she ends up saying that he killed. No, she ends up saying that his taekwondo instructor ended up dead, I believe. Um, and of course,
Yeah.
it's just another like red flag. So, and this is all going on at the same time. Like that conversation um, was going on in the hideout, and then him speaking to Heather in her office. It's all going on at the same time. And so eventually, Muse gets his nosebleed, and she's like, your nose, and then he kind of touches it. This is a very random nosebleed, by the way. Just very convenient. But his nose starts bleeding. You know what? I know what it was. It was aftermath from the backflip kick. But anyway,
It was aftermath from that ass kicking. Like he got
yeah,
his ass beat. That's
yeah,
why he bleeding.
yeah. It's a random nosebleed, and he takes the nosebleed and the blood from the nosebleed and draws like the Muse mask or whatever on some paper. And then she starts to kind of panic a little bit, and he's talking like, oh no no, and then they trying to crazy how crazy people talk. I don't have to say what he said, but I will say he did tell her, he's like, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking you can't get to that door fast enough. And then she jumps up to try to leave, and then he's like smashes her head against the wall or something, knocks her out. And at that point, she's kidnapped. Which, by the way, do you not have a secretary? And then no one heard like no one heard that. Like no one. You didn't hear your boss's head smash up against the wall. Okay.
You didn't hear a
Um.
loud ass fucking thud
Yeah.
against the wall. You didn't hear that? Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah.
There's
Like
no way.
yeah.
There's no way.
That's
I would have heard that and walked in there and be like, "Oh, what the hell going?" And I would have seen him, and I would have, oh,
yeah. Yeah. So
and I would have ran. I would have ran out that bit. I would have ran out that bit, called the cop.
yeah.
Ran out that bit, called the cop. Cops would have known he was immediately.
Exactly.
Immediately.
So we cut back to the hideout, and the task force or whatever has left out seemingly. Matt hops down from the ceiling, and he gets to kind of searching around, looking at using. He takes his glove off and is like touching the artwork pieces, the faces and everything that Muse has painted. And he touches them and touches them and touches them, and he comes across like one more that obviously is Heather on the picture. And he feels the picture, and he feels Heather's facial features, and then he's like, oh crap, and pretty much he needs to go. But before he can, that same asshole cop who he beat up in episode 2, was like, he said something like hey or something like that, and Matt throws his billy club and clocks him in the head and knocks him out, and he's like shit.
And he gets the fuck on down.
Yeah,
I also love the fact. I just love the fact that he keeps running into this one cop and he
yeah,
keeps knocking this bitch ass guy out. And it's
yeah,
like, I, it's damn near a running gag at this joke at this point. And it's like I really hope, like going along with the series, I get him at least knocking him out one more time.
yeah.
One more time.
I feel like he's probably gonna end up squaring off with him for real, one more time. But yeah.
I mean,
So
as we saw from the last square off, it's not a square off. It's an immediate flooring.
yeah, but we end the cop wakes up and he ends up contacting Fisk, and somehow or another I can't remember how, but he ends up figuring out that Muse is a patient of Heather's. I think isn't that how he figures out, or
Yeah,
do
I think
they?
it was like I mean, I think it was the facial recognition on the picture because I think he showed
Yeah.
the picture too.
Okay. Yeah.
We also didn't mention that Cole North, the cop, one of the cops that Fisk mentioned out in episode 6, is a character from the comic books. Like, and it is a lot of speculation that he's the one that killed Punisher. I'm pretty sure we made a speculation about him earlier,
Kill
but I just
Punisher.
wanted to throw that up because yeah, I mean, I said kill Punisher, my dumb ass. Y'all know what I mean.
White
He killed
Tiger.
White Tiger, so he killed Hector, like wearing the Punisher logo. But
Okay.
they're suspecting that everybody's suspecting that it was Cole that did it, which is why we didn't see his face. So,
Okay.
I honestly do agree with that. I think it is him.
Okay.
But with that, we did get introduced to Cole. And Cole is from the comics, so he is kind of important, and especially with the role he takes in the storyline. Like, I think that like we needed to bring him up because I had forgotten about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, so we fast forward or we cut to Muse and Heather. Heather wakes up and she's all tied up, and Muse like takes his scalpel, whatever, a blade, and cuts her arm open so he can. I guess so he can start. Well, I thought he was gonna drain the blood from her, but it almost looked like he was just trying to bleed her. I don't know, but he is in the process of doing that, and does she? She doesn't break out. Does she? I don't think she breaks out. She ends up getting up
No,
out of
the
the
cops get
chair.
there.
The
The
cops get
cops get
there.
there,
Yeah, the
and
cops get there.
he throws her on the after he sits down his canvas.
Canvas, yeah.
He throws her on the canvas, and
Okay,
he's
yeah.
about to kill her.
Yeah, and
And then
then Daredevil.
good old Daredevil,
Kool Aid Man's
good
through the
old
window.
goat devil. You
Kool
know
Aid
what I'm
Man's through the
saying?
window.
Oh
If y'all don't,
yeah.
yeah, y'all don't know the Kool Aid Man. I don't know. Y'all should know it, but if you don't know, there's the Kool Aid Man commercials.
Just look up Family Guy. Just look up Family Guy Kool-Aid Man. You'll understand everything.
Yeah, he Daredevil pops through the window and just pretty much continues where he left off the night before, because this is just literally the next day. It proceeds. It's like, all right, Muse, it's time for part two of this ass whooping. Um, you
The
actually,
sequel.
yeah, you
You
actually
getting
kind
your
of,
ass beat the sequel.
yeah, we didn't even have to wait long for part two. It just looked like a few hours. So, and then he really doubly messed up because he kidnapped Daredevil's girlfriend. So it was like now the hands is really gonna be thrown. So
It's like there's no way. There's no way. You went after my bitch?
yeah,
Like what?
yeah. So
I'm finna beat your ass extra hard, boy.
yeah,
Extra hard.
yeah, and Matt, I mean Daredevil promptly beats the crap out of him. And all the while, like the police are trying to get up there to the scene and everything, and there's a part where I think Muse tries to go for Heather, and then Matt launches his freaking billy club through his chest and yanks him back like Scorpion style.
Get over here. He said, "Nah, boy." I told y'all he was going extra hard on this dude. Like
Yeah,
whenever Matt shoots his billy club through your body, not to kill you, just to get you closer to him, you know he's on that. He's on that timing. He
yeah,
ready. He ready. He crashing out on you, and it's your fault. It's
yeah.
definitely your fault.
And so they scrap, and Muse had actually brought a gun with him that he was threatening Heather with. But he dropped it when Matt got there. So as they're fighting, Heather pulls out the gun and just unloads on Muse, and that's that. And like he's out. And then she faints, and Matt kind of goes to talk to him. He's like, "Hang in there, Heather, or stay with me, or something." And as that's happening, the police end up getting in there, but of course Daredevil's made his way out by the time they get there, and Heather is then taken to the hospital, and so then we have Fisk who comes over there, and he's like, one of the cops is like, yeah, Daredevil was definitely here, and Fisk is like, no,
Oh, he wasn't.
no, the task force
No, I
did
don't think
this.
he was.
You all did a good job. You did good work here. Y'all did good work. You found Muse. You
Y'all,
took
y'all
him out.
grabbed him mask, right? Y'all grabbed him mask, right?
Right. And then the cop was just like, yeah, we did, and we cut to Kingpin's little fanboy. He has called BB over to the office, and he's like, yeah, you're gonna report that the task force is the one who pretty much brought Muse to justice, and if you don't, your life is gonna be harder. He comes to giving her like a Fisk-esque threat, which really didn't come off very strong because I was like, man, you a bitch. Ain't nobody scared of you. But that's what he was going for. He was trying to be Fisk-esque, and I'm sure Fisk told him to do it. Now, we both know that BB is the niece of Ben, And if she's anything like Ben, who she was inspired by, then she's not supposed to fold to that threat. We hadn't seen yet how she's gonna report on it. I guess we'll see it next week, or I guess this week, this coming episode. I don't know, but I guess we'll see it in the next episode. But yeah, that's kind of where that went, and then we get to Heather's hotel hospital room, and Matt's there, and she wakes up and she's feeling kind of bad about having shot Muse and everything, and Matt just tells her, you did what you had to do, and then the report comes on the news about the task force being the ones who, uh, and being the ones who brought Muse in, and that Matt's just kind of listening to it like this motherfucker. And then again, we didn't mention this but earlier in this episode, there's a part where Vanessa meets with that same gangster who decided to disrespect Fisk, and she sets up this meeting or he suggests that they take Fisk out of the picture, put it that way, and she decides to quote unquote agree with it, and then she tells the guy after all this goes down that he's alone, and he's like at this restaurant, which at that point I knew she was setting him up, but he shows up and he goes to shoot Fisk, but then he gets capped by
New Wesley.
New Wesley. I was thinking the same thing. I was like,
New Wesley.
Yeah. And that's that, and then that's pretty much how the episode goes off. So that was that episode. Now this past episode was really eventful too. Like I said, you could tell things are picking up. We were on episode 8. Are we on episode 8? Yeah, we're on episode 8, huh?
Yeah. We only have 2 more episodes.
Yeah, and I think both of those episodes are coming out this week. This coming week. Dang. Yeah, they are. We gotta have to steer clear of any strays that Daredevil throws our way, because we can't be late with that review.
No, we'll be on. I know we've been saying this entire time, but watch it. This time we're going to be on time. Watch it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
watch it.
We'll get it out, get it out there on time. We'll aim for Wednesday morning, I guess, because the episodes
they forget we have the high ground over here.
we do, yeah. The episodes come out at like 8 and 9 o'clock respectively, so a lot of time it's hard to watch that and then go record, because you got to get ready for work at 8 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, so that's how that is. But in any case, that was the episode. Drop a comment. What'd you think? What'd you think about the backflip Daredevil kick? What'd you think about the delayed nosebleed? What did you think about the primal scream? What'd you think about Fisk becoming Fisk again? What do you think about what's her name? Not her, but I can't remember his name. Detective guy being mad at Matt.
Oh, Cherry.
Cherry.
How do you always forget Cherry?
I don't know, man. I can't remember. I'm bad with names. What do you think about Obi-Wan being bad with names? Drop all that in the comment section down below. And Dio, you got a question? They don't ever answer the question. You got a question?
I asked they don't ever answer my questions, God damn it. And I'm going to keep asking them until they start fucking answering. But I asked 2 questions earlier, so those are my 2 fucking questions for the comments. And just to reiterate, was it fucking Taekwondo? Please, somebody answer me. Was it Taekwondo? And if it was Taekwondo, why the fuck are you going against Daredevil? Bitch, you should have laid down and just said I surrender.
Yeah. I mean, most time these villains don't have that kind of sense, but yeah. In any case, thank you all for watching. Again, hit that subscribe button, please. I used to say I wouldn't ask for subscribes in the very beginning of videos. Y'all are gonna make me start asking in the beginning of videos to subscribe, because you're not listening. Please help a Obi out. Subscribe, please.
Please help a Obi out.
Please.
You are also helping your neighborhood DIO, and every DIO needs a like and a sub. So you're helping further a happy DIO.
Yeah.
And don't you just want a happy DIO?
Um,
Doesn't that make everybody happy?
I mean,
Doesn't a happy DIO make the world better?
Not for anybody who actually knows who DO is. But anyway,
Hey, 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 now.
but yeah, that's the video. Like, subscribe, comment, and remember, we have the high ground. Catch you later.
Deuce. Oopsies.